So now I'm going to go over my favorite light, the light that got me buying things from Nautieye. I was going to go on a trip and I wanted to start shooting some video, and I had upgraded my camera rig. I got more serious about trying to do photo and video under the water. So I bought this and I matched it up with another video light that I had, a 10,000 lumen multi-LED light by Scuba Lamp. And that was a mistake because they had different color temperatures and I could see it clearly in the video. So I went and bought another one of these, so I have two now. So I have some experience with this light. I was so pleased with this light that I bought another one and then decided to buy several other products from Nautieye. So let me just go through and show you what you get with this and tell you what my thoughts on this light are. It comes in a nice case, zippered. It's got nice good padding and protection for the light, so when I traveled with it, I actually traveled with it in the case because it provides a good deal of protection. You're going to get with this a charger brick with a cord to charge the battery. You're going to get your actual video light. It will come installed with a YS mount adapter, but I prefer the ball, so I've switched that out. You're going to get an O-ring pick, two spare O-rings, a battery cover, an Allen key for changing out your mount, and the instructions manual. So it has the attachment screw for the YS mount. Both of them work. This one works with a flathead screwdriver. This one installs with the Allen key. We'll set those aside. This covers the battery. I'll show you that in just a minute. O-ring pick and spare O-rings I'll put aside. And I'll open the light out. So if you're screwing the light and you grip this, make sure you grip just the head, because this piece right here, the sleeve that holds the ball mount, will also turn, and I'll discuss that in a few minutes. But if you start turning that, you might look at that and go, did I just mess that up? This has got a really nice fitting. There's no play in here. I mean, it's well constructed. This is a heavy light too, so you're probably going to have to add buoyancy to your rig if you don't dive with buoyancy already. And I'll discuss the weights here in a few minutes so that you can actually calculate what you'd need. Alright, so the battery pack, when it came installed for me, it came installed with a sleeve, a plastic sleeve over this to protect the contacts, and it was installed upside down within the case, so you'll have to take that sleeve off and install it correctly. Just to show you the charging on this, the charge port's right here. You'll plug this in, this into here, and this into the wall, and then there's no indicator on the battery of whether it's charged. The indicator is right here. When it's green, it's fully charged. When it's red, it's charging. I'm going to get these out of the way. They give you a cap. If you want to store this battery someplace other than your light, either for travel or just maybe safety reasons, some people keep lithium-ion batteries in a fireproof box. That'll protect your contacts so that you don't short your battery. Put this back in. The rings go up. There's nothing on the bottom of the battery pack, so there's only one way for this to go in and work. Those contact rings have to come in contact with these contact points. So this light is a single button operation light, and it's a Cobb chip on board array. Like this produces a lot of light. So I'm going to go through the specs here with you. But before I do, I said I'd talk about this sleeve. What I really like here is that if I'm setting up a rig and I have two lights, one on this side, one on this side, and a rig in the middle, you can rotate the light to position your buttons so they're on the inside, so it's easy to operate rather than having to go. You can see the button here, and you got to move your whole rig over to see the button on the other side. You just rotate the light to whatever position you need to make the buttons accessible. And so I haven't taken it apart. It feels like there's a couple O-rings in here. They're fairly tight to keep it from swiveling without you actually doing it. So let's go through some of the specs on this. So like I said, it's a 12,000 lumen light. It operates at, I've gotten different values here. The manual states 5600 Kelvin. There was an online source that stated 5000 Kelvin. And I tested it by shooting multiple pictures at different angles with the light, and then white balancing those pictures out in Lightroom, and every one of them white balanced out to 5100 Kelvin. So it's in the low 5000s, which is good. I think probably most people are targeting the 46 to 5000 Kelvin range for the bluest water in the background. So this sticks you right in the ballpark for that. The manual states that this is a greater than 120 degree beam angle. I have no way of measuring that. My online source stated that it was a 110 degree beam angle. I'm going to show you some spreads of this in comparison to a couple other video lights. I've been happy with it. It gives quite a bit of coverage, but I would prefer a tighter degree beam angle and have two lights, and that's plenty of spread, than waste light covering more area than I don't have to have. But in general, most manufacturers go with wider beam angles. That battery pack I showed you is a 18. Let me take it out and just show it to you again so you can see. It's clearly printed. It consists of 8 18650 cells, and they've got it all printed right here. So there's no issue traveling with the TSA. I had another battery pack that didn't state it at all. 14.4 volts, 6800 milliamps, and transportation 97.92 watt hours. So it's just under the 100 watt hour threshold for airline travel. So this light will work for that. And I didn't show you this either. There's two O-rings, and they come pre-lubed from the factory. The other specs, it says, it states that it's got a 60-minute or approximate 60-minute runtime. Depth rating is to 100 meters. It's aviation aluminum anodized coating, and then weight for people calculating buoyancy is 950 grams on land and 480 grams in water, including the battery. So it's quite bulky and quite heavy. I find that when I've got both these lights on with my arms, my flotation arms, that if I pick it up, they're going to flop down. I have to actually pick it up, grabbing the outside arms, and transport it. Once you're in the water, I don't have any problem with it, but I've got my rig pretty tuned out so that it's just very slightly negative. I can let it go, and it takes like several seconds for it to begin sinking away from me. So how the light works, we'll go into the different modes here. When you push the button, 2 seconds, it'll light up. So that light indicates how much battery power you've got left. When it's blue, you've got greater than 80%. When it turns green, you're between 30 and 80%. When it's red, you're between 5 and 30%. And when it's flashing red, you're less than 5%. And the light will reduce its output to 20%. And you won't be able to switch to a higher power. And you have 10 minutes, and then the light will shut off. So to turn on the light, you're going to give it one more click, and it's going to put it at 100%, and then it's going to step down in 20% until it gets to 20. The next step would shut it off. Instead of shutting it off, the next step will take it to 8%, and then it'll go back up to 100% power. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up. We're up holding this probably 3.5 feet off the counter, and it's got the whole counter lit. You can't see the whole thing, but it goes, you know, this is probably the edge of what you can see. It goes all the way out another 2.5 feet on either side with a nice even spread. There's no hot spots, and I'll do some tests where I can show this with lights, the light pointing at a wall at different powers, so you can see the spread and the output of light. and try to compare it to some other lights I have. So another click takes it to 80, then we go to 60, 40, 20, 8, and then back to 100%. And the light's getting quite warm here, so I'm going to turn it off. I try not to run my lights, except for brief tests like this, outside of the water, because they do heat up. This has got thermal protection. If the driver heats up to 50 to 55 degrees Celsius, it's going to drop the power down by 20% until the temperature drops below 40 degrees Celsius, and then you can bring the power back up. Good feature to have, but I'd rather not test it. I always do my burn test in water, and don't run these on land except for brief tests like that I was showing you. It's also got emergency strobe features, and to engage that, you're going to push the button to turn on the light, and then you're going to push the button and hold it for 3 seconds to engage the SOS and rapid features. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, I got to turn the light on first. 1, 2, lights on. Click it. Now I'm going to hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Well, that didn't work right. When the light is off, okay, I did that wrong. When the light's off, it's off. Hold the button for 3 seconds. There we go. So, takes you to SOS mode. One more push will put you in rapid strobe mode, and you can cycle between those, and a long push will turn the light back off. And it's back off. I've been really happy with this light. My last trip I took it on multiple dives. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to get there with video, so I don't want to show you my video and have you think poorly of the light just because I wasn't doing so well. If I get some better video with it, then I'll post that. But I mean, really happy with the output of this light and how well made it is. Didn't have any problems at all with it when I was diving. That is the Nautieye NE23 12,000 lumen video light. I'm going to show you one more thing that I figured out. When I would take this when I was trying to get things buoyancy worked out, I took it to the pool and was trying to try different flotations with it. And every time I'd have to set my rig up on a concrete edge. And over time, it's actually my other light, it began to start putting a few scuffs right here. And over time I imagine it's going to get worse. So a little trick I found was I stole this off of my daughter's water bottle. She ends up collecting all these little rubber bracelets, and it fits perfect right around the edge of the light to create a bumper to protect that light from getting scratched up. So if you're in a dive boat that's got the sand coating on the bottom, or a concrete pier, and you're setting your rig down, eventually the bottom of that light's going to get scratched up, and this will do wonders to protect that. I just need to find me one that's just a little bit smaller to fit on the back, and that light will never come in contact with the ground.